August 16th, 1:59 a.m. Is there really a point in doing these times anymore? All time has been frozen, and you would think that we would be stuck in this one moment forever. I mean, that would be kind of cool, actually, but Princess Twilight looked at the legions of ponies in armor, ready to die at a moment's notice. It broke her heart to do so, but for the first moment the northernmost buildings of Ponyville exploded into flame, she knew she had no choice. Camelot was in ruins and the Empire had fallen. All that stood now was the Southern Army, commanded by the Princess of Friendship herself. Yeah, some Princess of Friendship I am, she subtly rude, ready to declare war because I couldn't win the peace. She already heard rumors that the other princesses had fallen, and the hosts themselves answered to her, declaring her as Liege Lady now. Twilight knew what that meant, and a pit set in her stomach. A great host of crystalline creatures marched and flew on, closing in all around them, and behind them, a monstrous figure to behold. T-Rex, the necromancer. T-Rex, the damned. T-Rex, the black-hearted. She turned to the gargoyle at her side, a mass of muscles and sinews under golden armor, a regal bearing. Are you sure about this?
My brother is beyond hope now. If there was any hope to begin with.
Scorpion sighed. He flexed his muscles, holding a spear in them. He looked at the mirror at his side.
We fight alongside you now, Princess Twilight, as allies and friends.
She nodded, smiling despite the situation. You have my thanks, King Scorpion. He raised his spear into the air, summoning lightning from beyond.
Armies of the distant land.
He bellowed.
We fight to expel the traitor, and to protect our allies. To war! To war!
Twilight looked at her own armies, then to the blackened sky above. Hundreds of peg-sided equestrian griffins, ready to strike at her command. Forces of Equestria! She cried in a royal equestrian voice. We fight for our peoples, defend our land and ponies! A massive roar of equestrian rage sounded from the hosts, enough to shake the earth and drown out even her words. She finally turned to her friends, 4 of which were present with her, each bearing their element. Best of luck, girls. Oh, Postia, the mages under my command have practiced my shielding spell, and we should be fine, Verity told her. I'll make sure the hospitals help out when they can, Fluttershy insisted. Despite the danger, she was strangely calm, and that was a comfort to Twilight. I'm happy. Feel better, Fluttershy? Oh, yes. This fic actually lets me do stuff. I'm happy with my life. Seriously, more fics that does give you the medic role. Every combat wearing apples ready and willing to dance, Applejack said, wearing armor. These bad boys ain't learned a lesson until they tail to Bucky McGillicuddy and Kicks McGully, she boasted, gesturing 4 legs. Pushing her party cannon into position, Pinky shouted to the departing Iron, Killface gonna rock ya! What? Pinky giggled. It's something Sunny said that I shouldn't ever stay in front of a position where I needed to fight bad guys. Guess it's a human thing. Zena turned back to the front lines. Are you ringing Aces and Moo? Zena turned to Twilight. I'll make sure the party artillery teaches them a thing or two, Twilight. Rarity sighed. And Sunset is pulling Fabio pranks on Pinky. I hate to hear what she told Rainbow Dash. The fascinator confided to Fluttershy. Flying over a squadron above the majority in a massive flight, Rainbow called out to her flyers, Okay, Coastal Phillies, like as flows and attack persistent and commence attack on the Death Star! One of the Pegasiders started blinked. Rainbow, wasn't his foil, and aren't we supposed to be attacking T-Rex forces?
Yeah, like, what's the Death Star?
A second Pegasus asked. Right, do that, she told the first. So then you're gonna have to ask Simmer what the buck all that means. The Pegasus shrugged. At least the strange unicorn was safe on her side of the dimensional divide. Gunfire raked across the space over Sunset's head. And this was your idea of safe? She shouted at Raspberry.
Do. Whoa!
Hey, it looks perfectly fine, the other girl shouted. It's not my fault I'm still not used to being human, so I'm still mistrusting geometry. Raspberry ducked behind a gate that she was hiding behind. They poked her wand down focused, burning a line of magical energy across the room, causing the sirens on the other side to scatter. You'd think they were used to having someone throw magic at them, Raspberry had. Think you can finish them off? On it, Sunset called out. She immediately hopped into the air, and as she did, she pulled back her arm and a bow of energy, the color of the sky, appeared in her hand. Without a second to wait, she loosed the arrow into the ground, In the moment it impacted, Aircy Terrace led south for the strike point, snaring all of the sirens. While still in the air, Sunset summoned a bow staff, charged with electricity charged to the center of them, swinging and striking acrobatic form that left Raspberry jack-jawed. And you said humans had no magic? Raspberry said to Sunset as he let the last siren fall. Look, humans have a long history of magic in their mythology, so imagination takes over from there. Let's just say I've had a lot of cultural influences that let me adapt things and call it that, okay? Now let's get going, figure out what the hell happens next, okay? Oh, you see, Sonic friendship is timeless. This is how you do magic. It's more than just pew 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 pew. The only time that you can use pew pews in a serious manner is if you're doing DBZ Abridged. Hey, I'm your side, remember? Yeah, I know. I'm just really worried about my family and how they're doing right now. Well, look at it this way. If you're going through the Tartarus a season like this, then you're a keeper. They'll know that. There's no way they won't. Yeah, I guess I just had to say them first so they appreciated, she huffed. As they continued down the stairs, going level by level, something seemed very wrong. If that sign is right, we're hitting sub-level 8. There doesn't seem any sign of stopping, Sunset nodded. So, there's plenty of deep places in Equestria. The caves underneath Mount Caterhorn, for instance, Raspberry reminded her. Yeah, well, this is California. You don't put sub-level anything unless you're absolutely sure it's earthquake-proof. And even in Equestria, when magic goes up against nature, unless you're dealing with a strong spellcaster, nature wins every time. The thing is, I have to... She paused. That's it! Stop! Stop? Are you crazy? We're nearly there. I know it. No, we're not, Raz. Can't you tell? This is a Mobius Pass, Sunset shouted. Think about it. Why the hell are you giving up? Look, I'm going past you and don't get in my way, okay? The look on Raspberry's face became a mask of anger. You want to be a coward? Fine, but I'm going to save them. Sunset grabbed her friend's arms. Would you listen to yourself? And would you listen to yourself, you Harrydale? You abandoned Equestria and every point when we needed you. It's not me that needs the attitude, it's you! Raspberry's eyes became pinpricks of hate. I don't even know what... A hard slap to the face stopped that. Sorry. It was the quickest way I could think of to break the compulsion, Sunset told her as the other girl's eyes cleared. Wow, so that's what it's like, Raspberry murmured. Thanks. I don't know what I would have done. So since I'm not necessarily familiar with Mobius Pass spells, how do we get out of this one? Let me focus on a second. The flame-haired girl closed her eyes. The pulse of cyan magic rippled out from her. She watched her mind as the pulse reached out like a Doppler wave to ping something and returned. Okay, I think I know how to get out of this, she said as she climbed the stair railing. Are you sure about that? Raspberry asked as Sunset uneasily stood up on it. Then looking down at the drop, it had to be at least 20 more stories down. Very, Sunset. It landed on solid ground. The room suddenly revealed itself, a wide chamber with a single box on it that served as the railing and drop. Okay, completely embarrassed now. So seeing that, Raspberry sighed. Hey, you're depowered right now, so it makes sense it hit you. No shame in that. Besides, I'll bet the door over there is the one we need to go through. She says they pointed the door on the opposite end of the room. Since we can't one. Think we'll run into another trap? Raspberry asked. Relax, we got this. Once we get in there, we should be able to defeat Zikorian's spell. Then we can rescue my family, gather the other Cyrus on our side, and turn all of this over to the cops. Easy peasy. Tracer scorched the air, and gunfire crisscrossed the space between both friendly siren and antagonist siren. You know, in all my years in the military and law enforcement, I don't think I've ever been this big of a hot mess before, Zephyr grunted. So, you're saying you miss the old days? Sable asked as he returned fire. Not really. For one, I've gotten used to taking hot showers on a regular basis, the older man snarled, glanced in the direction of the enemy combatants. Wonder if they ever come to those sort of thoughts. Probably not. From what I gathered, they're completely brainwashed and nuts. Only reason our sirens got away is because they were here before all this magic shit started going around. Our sirens? Vesper asked, poking her head up and firing. You guys seem awfully possessive for someone we just met. Figure of speech, Vesper. Figure of speech, Sable pointed out. Aw, for a moment there I thought you were hitting on me. Sure, I'd go for you. Going to need a cover identity when this is over. Boyfriends are a great way to establish one. And hey, a girl can dream, can't she? The older siren snarked as she quickly ducked under cover. After all, here I am, a sweet, lovely young woman in her early 30s. Raising 3 well-adjusted teenagers, don't forget that, Arya chimed in. Yes, we're perfectly normal, Sanada agreed, lobbing a grenade. Grenade are true. The moment it hit, it detonated, taking out 2 more targets. Absolutely ideal wife material, Dacia said at last, aiming and shooting at her target. Hey, my little brother would go crazy for you girls. And so would I. The siren in question moved at the last moment and returned fire, causing the team to duck behind a wall for safety. Trust me, she has endorsements on this. Hey, don't forget about us, Snide commented, referring to her and Pine. We're in our mid-20s, Cecil said. Hot, sweet young things, you know. Ladies at my own hut, Sephir commented, then turned and shot at Chango, trying to flank them. But can we keep the flirting to a minimum? We have a job to do. Yeah, no making our lanes jealous until after we live long enough to do so, Sable chimed in. You guys are no fun, Fester commented as a bullet narrowly avoided her head. Okay, I see you got a point, but where are the heroes? Are we supposed to engage in Witty Bear or something? Does that even work? Arya asked. Worked for my unit once, Sephir told him. We were in a place we weren't supposed to be. The kind that you don't exist is the preferred euphemism. Doing things most like Americans would rather be surprised to find our government doing. We used to work for a government known as the Global Nice Guys. The people with shit we knew we existed, Pine rolled. You saying? Yeah, forget about that, Sephir chuckled. Okay, this was happening during Desert Storm. We got word that an Iraqi general had his hands on, let's say, some contraband that would have gotten him executed 5 times over if it was Rick or Joe. He had made a deal with some less than scrupulous Kawati bandits that could care less they were selling up the country for some Baghdad boom for some extra dinars. We got tapped to go in, and our orders were simple. Come down and destroy everything. Well, that's easy enough. Go in and kill everything, right? Yeah, but that's what our company commander, goofy as fuck, but generally decent captain named Peanut Plant, starts talking about how we can one up this shit. Now, if we play our cards right, we can turn both sides against each other, and at least one Iraqi general out of the fight. Yeah, that was not there was much fun, to be honest, but why risk it? Gunfire went over the heads of the group, and each ally returned fire, but it seemed for the moment they were far more engrossed in the story. Go ahead, Fester told him. Okay, so the captain decides he's gonna dress himself up as some fucking sheik, okay? Dead fucking gateway, calls himself Sheikha Alhambra. I mean, it's the goddamn obvious this guy was not a sheik. And yeah, while he was Hispanic, the man had a Tennessee accent thicker than mud. So there was no way he was gonna pull this shit off, right? The man then grinned. At least that's what he thought. Turned out the captain actually had some acting skill. By the time we got to the Iraqi problem child, we were well on our way to getting to eat out of our collective hands. But to pull this off, we needed someone to fuck with the other side. So we bring in Sergeant Prison Glider. Glider's this huge honking multiple from Milwaukee. Multiple Arya asked. His turn. His old man was also stuck, but his mom was as black as they come. He ended up with skin the color of a Starbucks latte. Anyway, Glider decides to steal the general's uniform, tweak it a bit, passes himself off as a colonel. He goes and meets with Kawati ass-jacks and says that the deal's off. They're gonna have to go better to go impress General Badass. He then just walks off. When they pull a gun on him, Claire just says, you guys are important enough to kill. Then keeps on walking. Here he is, guns pointed at him, walks off like it's a goddamn Sunday afternoon. So, not more than a day or two after that, we got a message from a colonel that a bunch of Kawati ragtags and Iraqi regulars are shooting at each other way outside the theater of operations. It's not like they're paying much attention to the war. As they're using enough hardware on each other, you'd think a second war was going on at the same time. So I guess in a sense it was. Got a kick out of the whole damn thing. Best of all, pissed off Dev Guru when the shit we got done, not them. He chuckled. Good times. Sable was the first to notice the near instantaneous change. Anyone think you got too quiet all of a sudden? It was then they heard the muffled thump in the background. Behind them, something large exploded. Great! So it looks like they brought out the motors, Pine grumbled. How long do we want to... Professor began before the area next to him exploded. Scare! She shouted. The group immediately moved as the enemy sirens began to restart their volleys of fire. Tracer sprang through the space where 8 had been seconds prior. The group immediately took shelter in the building Adagio had been earlier, not far from the still burning wreck that was the grave of Intermezzo. Well, anyone think going in here was a bad idea? Sighed as the gunfire continued, railing against the concrete of the building, and shattering whatever glass remained in the windows. Well, I say we could head upstairs, but they have motors, and who knows how much longer before they bring out the Bringer Party favors, Sable said, daring to poke his head out the door, then darting back in as gunfire railed through where he had his head a split second before. Either way, being here is a non-starter. Then the gunfire stopped. Hey, cunts! A voice shouted in. You little traitor bitches better come out now, and we'll make her death nice and quick, goddammit. Sounds like Chief Claire, said I, knowing. He was always a bitch. Oh, I remember her. Always a big talker. But no spine to really back up. No idea how she got into the sirens, but left became chief, Arya added. I'm giving you 10 seconds or else. For fuck's sake, he's striking us out, Vesper told him. Someone hand me a sniper. No, someone hand me an FN. I have an idea. The old looked at Sanaa and said, Look, Messo's gone. Though she's not admitting it, Daji's hurt. Don't lose anyone else. You had better not be sacrificing yourself, Argus warned. Am I clear? Sanaa gave her older sister a smile. I'm just me. Arya looked at her sister's grin, and somehow she knew it was all right. She had seen that smile before. Probably it wasn't from her sister. Somehow, it was Sunset's smile. Elsewhere, everywhere, time both moved and moved. Each atom, restrained by the ridiculously powerful Gordian spell, held its motion fast. Though the kinetic energy within it continued to build, the dance of reality was never meant to be stopped. Sooner or later, things had to continue to flow, to move, to resume the endless dance of hours that was reality. But with so much energy being stored up, it had to go somewhere. This was just how the physical laws of the universe worked, and even pre-natural and parasitical forces had to obey that at some point. The third law of classical mechanics, every action had an equal but opposite reaction. Right now, that reaction was building as pure energy. At some point, it was going to react everywhere. Standing on the moon, the figure watched, transfixed. If she relieved now, she could escape to the structure to hold this universe. It would be easy to do so. She was part of that parasitical nature, but she couldn't leave. She had to watch. She had to know she was right. And she had to know if he would be killed. His eyes bled again. They always did when she was around. The old bitch. He should have done something about her a long time ago. But that was before he realized the truth of all things and his place in it. Before he accepted who he was and what she really was as well. This was his realm, not that of the interloper. This was his kingdom, and he would protect it as he saw fit, not meddling alicorns and their dumb dog too. He wiped away the blood and slipped on his blackened glasses to hide his ruined eyes from the world. He didn't need them right now, admittedly. Not with that goddamn Gordian spell out there wreaking havoc on a massive scale. Right now, it helped preserve to who the world thought of him as. Someone had made the first move on the chessboard. Someone else responded in kind. In time, he knew he would have to remind him who owned the chessboard. Lord Titan, is that you? So, are you sure this is the place? Raspberry asked. Sunset doesn't know at the sirens she knocked out and been standing by the door. There had been nearly a dozen of them, and all of them now lay crumpled on the ground, the weapons having not been fired. She had been the cause of that, using one of her video game specials turned actual spells. The other girls had been caught completely off guard, went down like matchsticks. Yeah, sorry. Some of us don't have magic right now. Raspberry. So, the spell you hit them with, is that normal around here? Raz, as I mentioned earlier, there's no magic. Yeah, but then you suddenly made this gun of fire appear in your hands and you shot in this weird way. It's Kummer fanning. Whatever. I shot out magic bolts that hit each one of them and knocked them out cold. Well, the technical version of the golden gun vaporizes its foes, but I'm not going to kill unless I have no choice. Golden gun. So that's the spell's name. I guess I'll have to learn how to translate that into my magic, and then get what's shiny to see if we can have a white magic version written for the military. That'll be... Sunset summoned duct tape and started binding the unconscious siren's arms and legs together. Nancy summoned a second roll for Raspberry, which she tossed to her. Don't even think it, Ras. I don't want things to get worse than Equestria because someone figured out how to do Destiny without having played the game. That's assuming there's still an Equestria to go back to, Raspberry told her. A thought didn't cross her mind. I just realized I did not leave the battlefield in the most dignified manners. Hell, I'm not even sure how I got here. Given the last I remember, T-Rex was just about to kill me. Then another thought crossed her mind. Oh my Celestia, my parents, and they heard what happened to me, they're going to think I died in. Raz, for one, now you know how conflicted I feel right now. And two, we need to find a way to free my family and put an end to this shit. I need your game face on. You told me to get it together, and now I'm telling you to do the same thing. Right. Raspberry softly slapped the sides of her face to get the point across. Okay, let's do this human thing. Human thing? Well, yeah, haven't you seen the... She trailed off. I guess you haven't seen it then. There's this play in town, one of those action kinds, like a movie sort of, where the hero, who isn't a pony, says, let's do this pony thing. I guess it doesn't translate well? Not in the least. Oh. The pair opened the door and found themselves standing on a platform. Above them, enhanced by magic, was endless space. Below them and the well was the same. In fact, the room would be a complete castle to infinity, save for the pulsing, continually moving mass of something at the center of it, throwing off an eerie red tone of light, somewhere between the color of blood, feces, and worms. That seemed to be almost alive, perpetually moving like a coil of worms in an orgy. A secret gang tomb that wound itself in Mobius. This has got to be the most disgusting thing I've ever seen, Sunset commented. I got a bad feeling about this, Raspberry commented. Yeah, well, we don't have time for this, Sunset replied as she charged up a spell. It threw it the hardest he could. The blast, however, vaporized against the construct, the only thing being the release of a noxious smell. Oh god. This thing is like the literal shit of the world got used for a magic spell, Sunset groaned, holding her nose. I will never be clean, thank you very much. Raspberry complained, then took a look at the thing. Without further ado, she pulled out the pistol and opened fire. The round penetrated. Deep within, you could hear something sizzling. That does not sound good, Raspberry stated as she put down her gun. Just in time for the knot to shrink in on itself briefly, before launching out tentacles, like something out of a horror novel. Or at least one of Firestar's weird manga volumes. Sunset was about to dodge it, but immediately grabbed Raspberry and started pulling her into the spell. Help! Raspberry screamed, and Sunset immediately did so, blasting the tentacles to no avail. When that didn't work, she started pulling on Raspberry's arms, trying to immediately stop her from being pulled in, and still a hole where the tentacles glided in a massive maw, the monstrous-looking thing becoming a demonic version of Pac-Man with a tentacled tongue. Sonny, don't let me go! Raspberry screamed, turning with her free arm and grabbing her gun once more. She fired the rest of the gun. When she couldn't fire anything else, she threw the pistol at that thing, which in turn swallowed it whole. Ras, I'm going to pump everything I have into the Before one of the loose tentacles slapped Sunset across her face, knocking her silly. She quickly recovered, but in the process she did one thing she didn't want to happen. She let go of Raspberry's hand. The tentacles wrapped around the other girl like a cocoon. A muffled scream could be heard as the spell construct swallowed her whole. Ras, no! Sunset's eyes blazed with power. She summoned a massive fireball. She threw it at the construct. The construct swallowed it, and suddenly everything grew twice its size. The room became a massive value, sucking in everything. The legs were pulling towards the hole as well. Sunset did the only thing she could. There was a flash of cyan energy. Sunset found herself on the other end of the room. She screamed in horror and loss, not being able to protect her friend, the only other person of her kind, from a horrible death. What Raspberry had said was true about the war on the other side, a monstrous centaur racing war against everything Sunset had known. She looked at her hand, knowing it may never be hers again. She joked with Fluttershy earlier in the year about being the only unicorn here, as opposed to Fixal Almathea, the last unicorn of that cartoon. That was a very good chance that was only Sunset truly the last unicorn. She was the last pony as well. The group sat forlornly in their caves at this massive chamber, a place that looked like a Greco-Roman nightmare. None of them muttered anything for fear of the weaker ones in the group being hurt. Pinky looked around and spoke softly. You know what? You say chicken butt, Pinky. I swear I'm going to. Rainbow thought about it and decided not to finish her sentence. No. She shook her head and tears were at the corners of her eyes. I'm afraid. Right now, more than anything, I want Sunny to just take me, make love to me, and tell me everything's going to be okay. It is, my dear. I promise, Rarity lied. I'm ashamed, she whispered. Here we are in this situation. I want Sunny licking my... Miss Pye, I don't think that's the most appropriate thing to discuss right now, Celestia told her. So I know how you feel. You do? The woman nodded. The last memory I will ever have of my boyfriend is him being shot by those murderers, never being able to kiss him again. You're a young woman. You're feeling love and lost right now. I'm sure you're not the only one who's feeling anguish at this moment. Oh, so you're saying you want that boy's hot dog in your butt? Jumped in the head by Applejack. What the hell was that for? There are kids here. She gestured to Spike, was asleep and felt his laugh. Plus, Miss Celestia is our principal. Have some respect. Yeah, I got it. Latia sighed. Sorry, Mrs. C. Rainbow, it's fine. I'd rather you be honest in our final moments than anything else. Celestia sighed. You know, I never really thought much of my life beyond being an educator until you all came into it. Really? Fluttershy asked. Well, you're a special case, Fluttershy, given my past with your father. But for the rest of you, yes. You've all grown very special to me. I dare say my sister as well. I feel a bond between us I can't say I feel with any of my other students. She smiled. Maybe there's somewhere out there where our lives are vastly different. We all know each other through different means. The 5 girls, all thinking their counterparts in Sunset's literally defined mother, all dollar runs. You don't say! Luna laughed. Tia, you're being far too maudlin. What my system means is that while we educators care very much about our students for obvious reasons, you all meant more to us than the regular. She turned to look at Octavia and Twilight. You two as well. Sunset binds us together in ways that we never really thought we would be in. I mean, I certainly never thought I would care about my students like family. Despite the situation, Celestia smiled. Well, someone's crazy. Fuck you, sis. And there went that brief moment of maturity. Well, I don't know. I say maturity is overrated when faced at the end of the world. The group looked up to see Divine Rice standing there, holding an ancient spear in his hand and a long knife at his side. He was dressed in ridiculously ornate robes and had a young woman dressed in very little clothing hanging on his shoulder. I don't know. You won't live much longer. You bastard! Give me back my daughter! Still everyone around. He thought about it for a second and said, No, she serves a purpose now. A greater one than you'll ever understand. Don't you see? Your darling little cross-dropping will be a footnote in history. She will usher in an era of unprecedented greatness. My greatness. Slayer looked down with horror. What are you going to do with her? I'm going to sacrifice her, of course. What? Did you think I would have my way with her? He laughed. As if I was sorting myself with some teenage whore who has lusted after anything that looks at her. Slayer lost herself at the boss. Give her back! Give my child back, you monster! Defying yawned and looked at Siren with his arm. Teach her a lesson, won't you? You sure about that, sir? He nodded. Just don't ruin your voice. I will need you in short minutes. She nodded. Aye, sir. The siren, moving like lightning, reached in and grabbed Solaire by the throat. She yanked back, pulling Solaire's head with her. There was second crumbs, blood sprayed everywhere. One's nose cracking from the impact. She screamed as the siren thrust in with a second strike, stabbing her throat. Solaire gasped for breath, stunned by the pain, unable to breathe through her nose. That isn't faithful, is it? I don't want her to miss any of it. Divine noted. The siren shook her head. No, sir. She'll be in excruciating pain for a few more minutes, but she'll live. Although if you ask some people on Twitter and Tumblr, apparently a mere slap to the head will get you killed. Good job. Remind me to have Katana promote you first chance they get. Your dad's winning cousin. Now, if you excuse me, I have things to do, and averted the sacrifice for my needs. Celestia looked at Divine. You're going to pay for this. He laughed. And who's going to stop me? She will. Everyone looked at Pinkie, who had stood up and glared at Divine, arms crossed. She will. Huh. Divine laughed again. She is no threat any more than you are. And I see you haven't learned your lesson from the last time I taught you, child. Perhaps I should do you a favor and kill you now. I wasn't talking about her. The look on Pinkie's face was deadly serious. You don't deserve to know what's coming for you. You're already so fucking stupid you weren't listening last time. It's not my fault you're 2 months of a goddamn idiot. Realize when the light at the end of the tunnel is an oncoming fucking train. Are you trying to gold me again? God, nothing. Fucktard like you apparently can't understand English. By the way, kill me? It'll just prolong your pain. Defiant's hand went to his sword and she smirked. Defiant removed his hand from his sword. Almost tripped me up, you little minx. But I won't waste my time on killing you when I have greatness at the tips of my fingers. You'll just have to wait for your gruesome death. So you say. He said nothing and walked away. Pick me a pie! Luna stood up. Or I'll have you throw your life away just to save the rest of us. Do you understand? She went over and hugged the girl tightly. Please, Miss Pie, do not do that to yourself. Piggy looked up and saw tears in Luna's eyes. I'm sorry, Piggy replied. Luna did something no one expected. She gave the girl a maternal kiss on the forehead, a sign of a loving mentor. Even if we fall, I will not have you risk your life for me, or any of you. It's my job to do that for you girls, not the other way around. Applejack looked at Luna. You know, it's funny. There's about all of us are trying to get her some way or another. Funny that we're all going to go together like this. Twilight looked at Applejack and started to sob silently. Octavia went over and wrapped her arms around her cousin in comfort. You're all wrong, Piggy said with Shirley. Feel in my heart. She's coming and won't be stopped. Who's this she you keep talking about? Cadence asked. You have an awful lot of confidence for this mystery woman.